Joe Hopkins here, and today I'm going to tell you that you should play the fiddle. And you don't have to be all that good at it, right? You don't have to be good at something to enjoy it. I have my Harley Benton violin here. They're not terribly expensive. When I bought this, it was like $110. They might be more than that now. I don't know. But this is an instrument that I used to play a bit, and I was just starting to really get the hang of when I had a kid. And I had a kid that freaks out every time I pick this thing up. So I've barely played it in like the last 9 years. My kid's 9 now. So it just doesn't get practiced. I was finally starting to get decent at it, and then right? Now I can kind of make a noise on it, right? Not all that much. There's not a lot I can do with it, right? You can hear I can play a little bit. I'm not terribly proficient with it, but for the time that I did play this, I had a lot of fun with it. It's an instrument worth playing. It makes a cool noise, right? Yeah, and that's the whole idea. All right. So yeah, I'm not that good at it. I did start to get good at it though, and I had a lot of fun doing it. Back when I used to play this, I originally bought it was like a half-size violin, a small one. Bought it at some used instrument shop. Me and the wife were back then we were doing folk and gospel music, and I thought it would be a useful instrument to learn. And it was. And the thing is you don't have to be great at it. Neither of us really got that good at the instrument. But what we did do was learn a couple of songs, right? This thing's a little interesting for a guitarist, right? I know you're not supposed to use the bow like a pick, but I never got out of that habit. I'm a guitarist. There aren't any frets, which is weird, right? Everything's muscle memory to remember where the notes are. You can see I've got my little fret scale thing on there because I don't know, I never got that good at it. So I need a little reminder where the notes would be. On a guitar, you have frets. You don't have that on here. But what me and the wife did was each of us learned a couple of songs, right? A couple songs we could play fairly decently on the instrument. My wife would write songs, and I'd come up with little bits to play on the fiddle while she sang. Nothing all that hard, just usually rhythmy type stuff. Obviously, once again, I'm not that good, but little stuff like that, or just a little repeating line, Something like that, just something whimsical and folksy sounding I could play behind her singing. And it worked really well. People really liked it. It never occurred to them that, our audience, that what we were doing was pretty simple, easy stuff, that neither of us doing anything fancy. And it just worked. You don't have to learn a lot. You just learn a line or two that you get good at, good enough to play. That's all you really need. If you're not playing for an audience, if you're just playing for your own enjoyment, this thing is a lot of fun to learn. Like most new instruments you pick up, it's interesting. It can really get your attention, and you do get better with time. I did, and then you get worse when you don't do it for a long time, but I did get better. I did improve at it, and you don't have to be able to play a lot. If you can play a couple of songs, that's all you really need to get up in front of people and play it, right? It was a pretty fun time. There were a couple songs my wife would play the guitar and I'd play along with this. And there were a couple songs where I'd play the banjo and my wife would grab the fiddle and play along a little bit. And it was a lot of fun. We even did some recording with this instrument. Now, here's the other cool thing. Even if you're not trying to learn really to play the fiddle, but if you record music, this can give you some interesting sounds, right? And what I do a lot of times with this in my recordings is just record something to put into a mix. It doesn't have to be fancy. A lot of times what I do is, on the one song I just did a descending line, kind of like... And I'd play something like that underneath of the instruments, into the mix, underneath the instruments that are the main instruments in the song. And it's not supposed to stand out, you know what I mean? You can use a lot of different instruments for stuff like that, but this thing gives a pretty neat sound. When I'd use it in the studio, that's what I do a lot of times. Come up with just a little line that sounds good and goes along with the rest of the stuff in the recording. Because you don't have to be good at it to be able to use it for specific things. And I found that this sounds so much better than if I did, say, a synth line or some other digital instrument. If I put the same line in there with that, this kind of has a particular sound to it when you have an actual violin. And you don't have to be doing anything fancy. You can just put something in there, it adds a little bit of something to what you're doing without having to be spectacular at the instrument. In fact, a lot of things that you do when recording or even when playing along with people, they're not that fancy. Usually with, when you're playing guitar, you're just playing chords. That's not that hard to learn. You can learn some rhythm bits on the violin, which, I don't really know a lot of that stuff, but I used to play stuff, some of it, and it's not that hard. You notice with this, the most strings you can get together are 2. Right? But that's enough to do like little power chord things, And that could sound pretty cool. My point is, I have had a lot of fun playing the fiddle without ever really getting all that good at it. And that's the point of picking up an instrument. Even if you don't get good enough to play in front of anybody, even if you don't really improve all that much, if you get a little bit of it and you enjoy yourself, that's the point. And you will get better. Everybody improves when they practice, when you do it a bunch. And you practice when you're having fun. And don't get too heavy on stuff. Don't try to worry about the right way to play an instrument. Do what's fun with it. Enjoy yourself. If you're having fun with it, that's the whole point. I'm not good at this, but I do have fun when I pick it up. And I do have fun playing around with it in my studio. I've had fun every time I've used it to record something. And yeah, it's an enjoyable experience. I mean, you out there, right? Most of you guys watching this channel are guitarists. If you get a chance to get a cheap fiddle, right? Don't spend a lot of money. Give it a try and see what you think. And as long as you're enjoying yourself, you don't have to be good. That's where everybody gets it wrong. You don't have to be good at something to do it. You can do it poorly and still have fun doing it. Nobody's paying you. Keep that in mind. You pick it up. You don't have to answer to anybody. There's nobody paying you to do it. You do it because you enjoy it. And that means you don't owe anybody anything. You can suck at it and enjoy sucking. Like me. Lots of stuff I enjoy that I suck at, but I enjoy it, so I keep doing it. You can do it mediocrely. It's not like you're hurting anybody. Unless you have neighbors, maybe you're hurting their ears. But you know what? Screw them. Nobody liked those guys anyway, right? Yeah, the idiots next door that get upset when you play the fiddle badly. Yeah, nobody likes them guys. Screw them. So anyway, that's my thoughts on that. And you guys should grab you a fiddle. I've got a number of them, and I haven't spent a lot of money on any of them, right? That little half-size fiddle that I was telling you I bought back, years ago, That thing cost me, I don't know, like $150. It's actually a really nice violin. I don't think they knew what they had there. It's a surprisingly good instrument. It's just, it's not a full size one. And that's fine too. You can get smaller ones. They make them in different sizes. I think that was a half or a 3/4, one or the other. But it was a pretty good instrument. That's what I played for a bunch of years. This wasn't a lot of money. It's a Harley Benton. I own 2 Harley Benton violins. This one and an electric one. The electric one's pretty cool for recording, or if you want to play quietly because it's got headphones. And I bought my wife a violin off of Amazon. It's actually pretty nice and wasn't a lot of money. So you guys grab you a fiddle, give it a try, and just have fun. Enjoy making a noise, Yeah. And I'll see you in the next video. I love y'all. Peace out, baby. Bye-bye.